Hey guys, how you guys doing today? Um, as you can tell, there are many types of lures that you can use to catch bass. Um, all depending on where you're at and what those specific uh, fish like, they're going to hit more likely than others. Different category is your salt. You got your soft plastics. All I'm missing is the grubs. The only one that moves in a very weird way or a different way is a lizard. You can do more stuff with that. So you got your soft plastics and your swim baits. Swim baits have their own movement to it, their own style, stuff you can add to it, to your swim baits. And your hard baits. These are the most complicated ones to use. These come with a lot of technique. I covered in the last video a live showing of a lipless crankbait. Um, that movement is very different from a top. This is a top water bait, a spook. This is the most complicated one to use, I believe. Um, Jerk bait, lots of practice and certain types of movement with that. And also your more realistic baits and lures. You have a frog, and this fun thing I've been trying to find for a very, very long time. Um, that has its own this is from Lunker Hunt, has its own bait way of moving things. But I'm going to dive a little bit more deeper into explaining these baits, different baits and lures. And so let's get it popping. Hello guys, and welcome back to Tactical Fishing. Your boy, the Nature Boy, here. Just gonna share with you guys some very basic, simple fishing techniques and fishing tips. Just like any sport, there are what they call the necessities and the basics. Learning the basics. And the most basic thing in bass fishing is movement. That's what we're talking about today, moving these baits properly. So let's get it popping. So we're talking about movement. And of course, like I explained, you have your hard baits, you have your soft plastics. The only one that I give an exception to is the lizard, because it has a lot of movement and in a certain way you can move that. And you have your swim baits, and you have your random, your others from Lunker Hunt. They have so many different variety of lures, baits, and that's one I've been wanting to fish for a very, very long time. So different categories, different things, and all come with a specific move type. Like I said, I talked about lipless crankbait. You can scroll down and check that out, how I lipless crankbait. I talked about a normal way of using it, a way that everybody uses it, and I also talked about traditional way to use lipless crankbait, and I also talked about how I personalized the bait, that a way that I started catching a lot of fish. And you can do that, and you can tweak your movement, and that's called a retrieve, and that's how you catch the fish. And so you can look at the video and see how I do that. It's very, very, very different. It's more kind of like mix of a jerk bait type of retrieve. You can check the video out, and that's on the lipless crankbait. So, like I was saying, all these baits come with a different type of movement. How I learned it over a 5-year period, I picked certain baits and certain lures. I learned their movement, and also I learned how to look for more realistic baits. Like you can have a lipless crankbait, and it's just purple or green, bright orange or green. I mean, it's not realistic. So where I fish at, the places I've gone to, they mostly have brim, and so that's kind of like a brim color here in North Carolina. I don't know what the brim look like other places, but here brim are mostly dark colored. You can get an all black one like this, but these kind of dark colors really work, especially the black top and a mix of red and yellow and some dark blue with that, works very, very well. And also in the transitioning period that we're in, from fall to summer, a crawl color, a dark red color will do you very, very well. Very versatile bait. I use it for speed fishing if I want to cover a lot of ground at a place. And so I do recommend, checking out the video below. I talked about lipless crankbait and also talked about how to move a Texas rig. This is a very basic fundamental bait. I would say I would master first, because after you throw all these different type of lures, the one thing you count on is a worm, a grub bait to clean up. Most specifically, a worm works very, very well. A Texas rig style. This is a Ned rig style. You can use this around rocky areas. I wouldn't suggest heavy cover because it can get caught up very, very easily. Unless you get one that has a weed cover on the end of it. The new ones have it. This is just a crappy lure Ned rig, and so that works very, very well. And the type of worm that you could use is I would suggest the Googan bait. Since it's lunker law, because it's a lot heavier, you can just use it as just a plain Texas rig without the bullet weight. I use the bullet weight to give a little bit more weight, but if those back cut areas, very shallow water, you wouldn't have to use a bullet weight. You can just throw on a open out hook. I prefer open out hook. I like open out hooks, or a Texas rig weighted, a Texas rig. And so that's the soft plastics. Swim baits. I'm going to do a video on it very, very soon on swim bait movement. You can move this in so many different ways. Some people just throw it out and just reel it in. And also, I would suggest throwing things that look very, very realistic that bass haven't seen yet. These type of lures are very, very good with as far as frog fishing. Frog fishing, man. I mean, to me, frog fishing is one of the most realistic things, because when they see a movement, anything like a frog, they're hopping on, especially the big fish. If you're going to catch a really big fish, learning how to do frog fishing, that's good. So really, I'm going to cover a lot of this stuff. The most difficult bait to use is throwing this, a top water bait, a spook. It's very complicated movement. Also with the jerk bait, I'll be covering a lot of these baits doing my one-on-one teaching, and maybe throw in some frog fishing. But moving all these different baits and learning them is a very, very key point in bass fishing, and mastering it and tweaking your own style, because all these baits, certain places, certain colors, certain times of the day, certain times of the season. We're in the summer season, so it's kind of wide open. It all depends on, like I said, the time of day. The color is very, very important. I go for more realistic colors, like a lot of clear colors. I go for that. More realistic baits and movement, a lot of movement in my swim baits. My lipless crankbaits, I go for more realistic colors. The only realistic color that's not on here, this would be like for ocean fish or something like that. But I go for more realistic colors, and so I heavily suggest hooking up a Texas rig, learning that. Go to a lipless crankbait, learn that, and just there's a lot of videos on YouTube learning how to move these baits. But I will be posting some stuff. I already posted some stuff already on how to move those baits. So learning those baits step by step, and some stuff that you think that you would catch fish on, I would try that. I tried it all, man. And so I found certain things that worked, certain things that didn't work. And if I'm going out fishing, I would always have a worm on, lipless crankbait, or a swim bait. And then I have two things I just want to test. If I know that there are fish there and they are hitting, of course a frog will work. That's like backwoods type area, a lot of vegetation and stuff, a lot of lily pads and stuff like that, good for a backwood area. But the easiest way to do that is look at the surroundings of where you're at, and go for the basics like a swim bait, Texas rig, lipless crankbait, and throw some other stuff in, some top water. They got videos on top water. Top water is very, very cool. of the way to catch fish. And so to sum this all up today on this show is learning the movement of your bait, of your lures, mastering it, tweaking it, and you'll see, the results of learn these different baits and lures and the movements that comes with it, and also get down the Texas rig. And so that's it for today. Just give me some simple bass fishing tips. Movement is a big part of bass fishing and catching those fish, and learning those things, learning how to manipulate those fish to hit, to strike, to make it look like a fish that's a real fish instead of just a simple hard plastic is the key of bass fishing. So until next time, remember, keep it popping. Colorado Blade. This is 3 count